Good afternoon. This is Donna Joerling, owner and broker of the Joerling Group real estate company here at the Lake of the Ozarks, and I'm happy to have one of my clients and a close friend of mine, Jeff Johnson from All Pro Radon with me today. Good afternoon, Jeff.
Good afternoon, Donna. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, it's actually 80 some degrees outside. I'm so excited. It's finally going to have the water's going to be warm enough for the fish starting to jump. So hey, I know that you've done a couple of jobs for me, for folks that are at the Lake of the Ozarks as far as the mitigation of radon. If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, Jeff, your company, why you started the company, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, I've been in business myself for over 3.5 years. I've been in the radon industry for about 8 years. Prior to that, I was an electrician and a pipe fitter. And then, of course, the recession hit and everybody lost their job. And so I had a gentleman come by and say, hey, I need help. I need some help. And that's how I got started in it. And it's been a pretty good industry and everything like that.
Yeah, I'm sure with all the homes that are selling and changing hands, well, even if you're not selling your home, you should have your home tested. Is that right, Jeff?
That is true, but most of the time the people learn about radon is when they're either buying or selling a home. Everybody else is left in the dark. And
Yeah,
so
people don't really pay attention to it, but tell us what you know in a nutshell about radon and how it can be a health factor.
radon is a radioactive gas, and it comes from the soil. So every inch of soil outside your house and underneath your house is emitting radon. It is the #2 leading cause of lung cancer, and there are accumulated of 22,000 deaths per year related to lung cancer.
That's really scary, isn't it? I had no idea it was quite that high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the scientists are trying to figure out if there are other health risks and stuff like that. It's just that inside your home, the radon builds up, and it starts building up into high levels. And so every breath you take, you're taking in high levels of radon, which is doing some type of damage.
Yeah, I went to a radon class in St. Charles, Missouri, last week Tuesday actually, for continuing ed credits. And one of the things I learned was that if you're a smoker and you live in a home that has radon, you are just really in trouble.
Yeah, you're 7 times more likely to get lung cancer if you're a smoker and live in high levels. Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of times, I had a friend that died from what they diagnosed as secondhand smoke because his mother was a chain smoker. But I wonder if they ever had his house tested for radon
No,
when he passed away. You just never know. And it's something that can be actually remedied fairly easily and fairly economically. Is that correct, Jeff?
yes, any house can be mitigated for radon and everything. Some houses are a little more difficult than others. Just depends on how they're built and their age. But no, the problem can be taken care of no matter what.
Okay, okay. And I will attach to this interview some different pictures that Jeff has already submitted to me to put on the website. So then you'll have some more. I wanted some hands-on pictures of what the product looks like after Jeff's done installing it. And according to your website, allproradon.com, there's 3 services that you offer, correct, Jeff? Can you walk us through what those are?
The first service I do is testing, and the only way to know if you have high levels of radon is to test. The second one is if you do have high levels of radon, then there's the mitigation process.
Okay.
And then the third thing is maintaining the system. And basically what that is just giving you reminders that you have a radon system and to check it. And it's very easy to do.
How does about how much, and I know it's probably based on distance and size of the home, but an average ranch style house, about how much does it cost to have a radon test done?
The radon test is $125. And then if you want to know what the average cost for a system is, it's about $895.
$895. And then what if it's a house that has been added on and it's, got different levels? How does that work on pricing and testing?
Usually on those, I want to take a look at them. It depends on the crawl spaces, if you can get into the crawl space and stuff like that, because that's what they consider a different zone.
Yeah.
So they're just doing the basement. Now you have to do include it on the crawl space. Then you have to do the size of fan. And it's really hard to estimate what those would be unless you actually take a look at it. So to give an accurate price and a fair price, I would definitely have to take a look at those.
Right. And Jeff and his lovely bride are the proud owners of a beautiful home here at the Lake of the Ozarks now. So he actually works in two markets. You want to tell the listening audience a little bit about that?
Yes, I am. My primary home is in Green Valley, Missouri, so I do the greater Kansas City area. But I also have like Donna said, a really nice home down at the Lake of the Ozarks. And so we decided we wanted to get into that market also.
Yeah,
And
tell me, how is the radon? Because I know the radon level, like you said, it's a radioactive gas. And it was really part of the glacial effect, right? As the glaciers came down way back when, didn't they bring down different deposits of ore that were radioactive and different levels in different parts in different states? Is that correct?
right, the geologist's way to describe it is that the three ice ages brought the radon and thorium down. And so about midway through Arkansas was the last ice age. So the more you go farther north, the more prevalent radon is. The farther south you go, the less prevalent it is.
Yeah, yeah, I thought that was interesting. So if you're from Arkansas and you're listening, you might be safe that you don't have to worry. Actually, I had Jeff did a system 2 houses over from me. I'm in Sunrise Beach on the Lake of the Ozarks, and I was surprised that it's as prevalent around here as it is. I know in Washington, Missouri, which is where I lived for 26 years, it's very common to have radon. And what's really not common is people's knowledge of radon and how it is a serious health factor that is it's a silent killer from what I understand, right? It doesn't have a taste, it doesn't have a smell and odor, you can't see it. So it is truly a silent killer. And for less than $1,000, or at least in that range, you can have the test done and the mitigation system installed. I think, do you have different types of mitigation systems, Jeff, that you install?
We do. The one I priced before was what we call an exterior system.
Exterior, meaning it's on the outside walls?
Right, it's on the outside. So basically we have to go from the basement directly to the outside of the house, and then the rest of the unit and vent pipes on the outside.
So how does that work? How does it actually take radon, which is in let's say, like my house, my living room and kitchen are in the basement, okay? Because a lot of the houses here at the lake, the windows, it's all about the view of the lake. So we use every inch because the land is so expensive. We use every inch we can to get that full lake effect. So a lot of my living space is in an opened, windowed view living room or basement level. So I lost my train of thought. Isn't that embarrassing? Not that anybody on the phone on this call never ever does that, but so when you have a mitigation system and you have two levels, like I'm in a 2-story house, you have an interior system you can do and an exterior. Is that correct?
That is correct. Now,
and when do you make the decision to do one or the other? How does that?
Usually, it depends on price. Interior systems are a lot more expensive because we have to go up through walls and stuff like that. Now, your neighbor across the way had an unusual place where I could go up. And that
you went into a closet, didn't you? And then went straight up and through a garage?
We actually went up through the utility room downstairs.
Right.
And there was a vent that went up there, and there was enough room in that chase for us to go up and get into the attic. So that was
a blessing in disguise.
That was a blessing in disguise and everything.
Yeah, that's true. Having an area, because don't you have to walk us through that process? You have to cut through the floor.
Yeah, we have to cut through the floor so we can get below the concrete slab to where the soil gas and everything is building up at. And then we have to put the piping either on the outside or on the inside of the home, and then attach a fan. and then we have to get the exhaust vent up above the roof line. So, so what it's going to do is actually it's going to create a negative pressure underneath your house. So your house is making its own little positive pressure, and basically that means
So then it funnels it up. Is that what it's doing?
the radon system. Now it's actually sucking air down.
Oh, it's sucking
So
air down.
yeah, your house makes its own positive pressure, and that basically means the upward movement of air.
Okay.
So, and that's the driving force that brings radon into the home.
Oh,
So
like
what we
it's always warmer on the second level, so it's drawing air up. Is that what it's doing?
correct, and it's going through wall cavities, stairways, pipe chases, and stuff like that. So what we do is we get underneath the home and we start sucking down, and that creates a negative pressure. So long as I can get more of a negative pressure than the house's positive pressure, I win the battle.
Gotcha. And when you're doing the testing, I know that a lot of people have this thought that, oh, well, you know, the house has been vacant, it's been closed up all winter. I want to open up all my windows and doors and all that kind of stuff. Does that really make a big difference on the testing when you do a radon test?
Um, for a test, you cannot do that because we want to know if you do have high levels or not. If you open up all the windows and doors and stuff like that and get fresh air in, yeah, it's going to dilute it, and so you're going to have lower levels. Now, if the house has been vacant for a long time, then yes, I would say go ahead, open all the windows, get all fresh air in, close it back up, and then do a test.
And don't you want to run the normal heating or air conditioning depending upon the season like normal so that it has so there's some normalcy to the test results?
Right. You can run your heater, your air conditioning at normal. We just ask you not to run an attic fan because that is a major upward movement of air.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about, because I have a gas insert fireplace, when you do a test, but it has glass doors on it. So when you do a test, do you not run the fireplace while the test, because it's a 48-hour, right, for the test?
Yeah, it's a minimum of 48 hours and everything. The gas fireplace should not make a difference because you're not moving air upward into the living spaces above and stuff like that. Usually they're blown out just directly out.
If it was wood burning, would that make a difference?
That should not make a difference. But most people, when they run a wood burning, they do open up the window or two. So, and everything.
So probably best to let the windows be shut and not run the fireplace while you're having a test done.
Yes. Yes.
Because you want an accurate reading. I mean, really, guys, for the folks that are listening or watching this video, it's like, really, you don't want to try to cheat the system. You really do want to get an accurate test. And what is the test result that, like the reading that you want to be concerned about as a human living in that house?
The EPA set the level at 4.0, and now the World Health Organization set it at 2.7. Now the American
really? There's that much of a difference.
There's that much of a difference. Now the American Lung Association says get it as low as possible.
Of course they would because they experience it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the highest you've ever seen?
The highest I've done so far is 84.
Whoa. Were they even alive?
They were glowing.
Yeah, remember it's radioactive, so if you want to have a glow-in-the-dark outfit for Halloween, go into a radon house for a while.
But typically in Kansas City, it ranges between 7 and 20. But yeah, that was a very, very old house. It leaked. You know, it had a lot of cracks and stuff in it. So yeah, there was a lot of entrance points for radon to come into the house, and yeah, it was a very difficult one. It was a very expensive one, but we were able to get it all down.
Yeah, I had a customer that I sold him and his bride and 2 kids a house in Washington, Missouri, and well, it was ranked pretty high on the radon scale. Mm-hmm. And the main cause of that radon level was whoever had the house before put a bathroom in the lower level and cut through the foundation to do the piping and stuff, you know, for the sewer and the water to get out of the house, and didn't properly seal it.
Yep.
And so we had all this radon gas coming in through that source. And this particular buyer, he, not only being a dear friend of mine, but he also works in his house. So he was going to have his office in that basement. So I was
Yeah,
adamant about making sure that that radon system got installed, and they've been happy ever since then. So,
yeah. Now you mentioned that some pumps are the number one culprit because that's a big hole and it's access to the soil.
yeah. So, how do you, as a homeowner, what words of advice can you give a homeowner? Because in St. Charles County, that's required in every single home now.
Oh, it is really. Did not know that. I know.
Well, pretty much. It's pretty common to almost every home I've seen in there to have a
Yeah.
sump pump somewhere because of all the water we have. So,
Oh, yeah. Some pumps, like when you do a mitigation, you just make them airtight, and so you just seal them. I put plexiglass so that you can actually look down into them because some pump is going to fail sometime sooner or later, and everybody wants to look into them.
yeah,
So
and
I
you
mean,
don't want kids falling in them or playing in them. Or,
that's true too. Yeah.
yeah, that's a really good idea. So you do a plexiglass cover?
I don't do a complete plexiglass cover, but I use the original lid because usually that one's really sturdy. But
Okay.
the slotted hole that's there, I put plexiglass on that so they can look down into it. And it's also really easy to remove if you need to get down in there and work.
Can you use the septic, the pipe that goes out to get the water out of the basement? Can you use that as part of your mitigation system sometimes?
No, because in the United States we have to go above the roof line. Now,
Oh, above the roof line.
if you're in Europe or any other part of the world, yeah, they vent out straight out the side of the house.
Why do they make us go above the roof line?
Because the way the scientists have figured out that we do not want reintrusion into the first or second floor.
Oh,
So they want you to be, at least 10 foot away from any opening, 2 foot above any openings with windows and doors and stuff like that. So
well, that
we
makes sense because you don't want to dump it out right by the baby's room outside, if
yeah,
it's a two-level
have
house.
the window open and all of a sudden, yeah, your levels downstairs are fine, but now your levels upstairs are like 20.
Yeah, yeah, that makes total sense. Well, sometimes the government's watching out for us in the right ways, right?
It's not in Texas.
We're appreciative. That's a whole nother video, but that's not going to be on this website. So Jeff, I wanted to thank you today for your time. Could you give us your contact information so that if someone would like to hire you or talk with you about their radon levels at their Lake of the Ozarks homes or anywhere where you service, uh,
Mhm.
how can they reach you?
They can reach me by phone, which my phone number is 816-510-3590, or they can email me at allproradonkc@gmail.com.
All right, perfect. Do you have any other tidbits you would like to leave the audience with today?
Um, Enjoy the lake. I know I'm going to.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jeff, for your time today. I appreciate your help, and we'll send business your way. You
All
take
right.
care
Thank you,
now.
Donna.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.